Hello viewers, followers, friends, etc. It's Francis Jeffery coming to you again, except this time from Michigan City, Indiana. I drove all the way out here today from South Bend to eat at one of their local restaurants and do a brief video about what the exterior of this train station looks like from public property, to show all of you viewers that this train station is open again, and it's also brand new. Furthermore, if I see anything interesting to photograph, I will do the best I can to explain why it is something worth photographing. As you all know, I'm professionally trained in photography, so you will probably find a link to my 500px profile in the description. All up and down the other side of this street is private houses. This is a nice, quaint, small town. It kind of reminds me of Guilford, Connecticut in a way, because it's about the same population, and Guilford, Connecticut is a suburb of New Haven, Connecticut, which is not as big of a city as Chicago, obviously, but both towns are definitely suburbs. Michigan City is a suburb of Chicago. Somebody did a nice job using street chalk here. Merry Christmas to all of you. Michigan City is part of the Rust Belt. It looks like that scenery is moderately interesting to photograph. It's just interesting because of the hierarchy in how from bottom to top it's like there's a recession, and then there's all of those wires that are sort of juxtaposed well with that crane, which also has a lot of lines incorporated into it. But I'm gonna continue the video for now. Maybe I'll take that photograph before I head home. Looking back the other way, it's also sort of interesting how those houses both have pointy roofs, and they add to the symmetry of this image, because this image, or scenery I should say, it's not a photograph yet, it is rather symmetrical because of the way that it's divided by those support structures. So it's interesting how there's a fence at the bottom, and then there's those support structures, as well as the track standing out because it's yellow, and then the houses that both have pointy roofs are kind of right smack in the middle of it, and then there's also fine art in the roof as well. Maybe I'll also get that photograph before it's time to go. Now, I did scout out this area before coming here to do this video recording, and I determined that the street opposite here was the wrong side of the street to do this video from. It's much harder to see into the station itself from the opposite side of the street. And also, I'm not a South Shoreline rider, and when I pulled into the parking lot, I had to do a U-turn and find a place to park out in the street, because I saw a sign that says that parking was for South Shoreline commuters only. There is a moderately interesting thing to photograph. The right time of day to do this photograph is probably around noontime, though. It's very interesting how those two towers are symmetrical, and then there's train tracks in the bottom of the image, which suggests that maybe this was taken in a city. And then in the way background, there's a sign that says 10th Street, which is also indicative of this being taken in a city, and it goes along with these two support pillars, which kind of look like skyscrapers, which are sort of reminiscent of the World Trade Center. Of course, not as large, but you can use abstract realism to make them look the same size. Also, the shape of them is a little bit different, but still, the idea is there that those two structures look like gigantic skyscrapers, depending on how you look at them. So if you frame it just right, then This is a very interesting photograph to get, and it would not be interesting if it was not for that sign in the background that says 10th Street, which makes it look like the downtown area of an inner city. I've actually taken the train to Michigan City before, but not before they renovated this station. And it used to just be a vestibule that was on the sidewalk right next to the street. Alright, I'm just gonna quickly cross the street here, and from this little section of sidewalk right here, as well as on this track, I'm just gonna see into the station as best I can, and then it's gonna be time to move on to something else. Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that way. It looks to me like it's a continuation of the public sidewalk, but it looks like there's not much to see down there. So, yes, I think I will walk to that marathon station now and